AITA for turning down a job during my divorce because it jeopardizes my alimony? I, 51F, was offered a job by a connection of my husband's who runs a contracting business and therefore has staff in-house to generate invoices. They call it accounts receivable, and I'm guessing in larger companies it would be considered part of a general accounting department. The job pays $18 an hour and is 30 hours a week, with an apparent promise to raise it to 40 depending on how my first month goes. While I understand any work is good in this economy, hear me out. My husband, also 51, and I have been married 24 years, and have lived in Philly for all but 4 years of our marriage. We have a 23-year-old and 19-year-old. I've been wanting a divorce for quite a while because the spark is gone and there has been some long-standing resentments. In particular, when I had the chance at a medical sales job 21 years ago, I was so close to be hired. I just needed a reference. My husband worked for a friend's medical office as their accountant, and I had said in my interviews that I had worked alongside as an office manager. I wasn't explicitly employed, but I had shadowed my husband greatly and was his de facto bookkeeper at home. When I asked him to vouch for my skills, he said okay. But then, he got a message from the interviewer which described what he needed to verify and he got testy and basically said no sorry, I guess. And then shrugged, and despite my devastation at losing the job, it was like this situation didn't exist for him. I put my head down for long enough because I loved him and wanted to have our family. But I finally had enough with his festering indecisiveness and how a lot of important things got a shrug from him. I resigned myself to being a housewife, but we've been having fights that have made him living under this roof intolerable. So I filed for divorce, and during our first mediation day, he came with slumped shoulders and said he knows I hate him and he intends to be fair, but if this is any consolation, his connection needs an accounts receivable person and it could be a way for me to be independent and get some fun money out of it. The office let me shadow one of their workers, and while the work after getting used to it is just entering data, mailing letters, and recording payments, it's high volume, and at the end of the day I was exhausted. Everybody in the office was younger and it hurt a 30-year-old would be my supervisor. I was too tired to go see my daughter and grandchild, and after telling friends this, they said my husband is just tricking me so my alimony is lowered. I ended up turning down the job, and my STBXH asked if a boutique job would suit me better. I flipped and said I didn't deserve to start over now, and we got into an argument where he claimed he was trying to help. AITA? My lawyer said Pennsylvania alimony is pretty murky but says she'd fight for my contributions to be compensated. I'm assuming it means that my husband is trying to lower my alimony and then possibly get his friend to fire me afterwards.